What would you say to a child who asks, how come sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm bad? Which is a different question than sometimes I feel good and sometimes I don't feel good. There's emotional mood swings, and then there's moral swings, where sometimes I feel destructive and sometimes I feel constructive. Sometimes I'm nice to my siblings and sometimes I just want to hurt everybody. Even a child knows that there is a moral component here. So a child asks, why am I sometimes good and sometimes bad? So the Torah tells us that there is this thing called a yetzer. A good yetzer and a bad yetzer. And the bad is there from birth. And that's why God brought a flood that wiped out all of humanity, except for Noah, because a person's yetzer is bad from birth. It's also the reason that he's never going to bring another flood. But that's a different story. So what is this yetzer? What is this impulse? A good impulse and a bad impulse. We're not talking about deep, dark evil. The average human being is not born evil. But there is a badness to every person at birth. And that badness is self-awareness. Original sin is not a sexual sin. Original sin is becoming self-conscious. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, they became self-conscious, not conscious of sin. They were in the Garden of Eden. It was all pure holiness. They became self-conscious. Now, self-conscious is the root of all evil. It's because we are self-conscious that we will commit crimes if it serves our purpose. We will commit sin if it serves our purpose, if it makes me happy. We will hurt others in the pursuit of our own success and pleasure, all because of self-awareness. Self-awareness means self-importance, of course. I take myself very seriously. I feel my needs very intensely. My pleasures and my pains are very important to me. And it's all nonsense. But then, of course, there's the good side of me. I'm intelligent, I'm reasonable, I'm thoughtful, and that leads me to do good things. In fact, it's a natural instinct in decent human beings that makes me want to help someone who is worse off than me. Why? Because it doesn't compute, it doesn't make sense to me that I should have more than I need and you don't even have what you need. And it's intolerable. So I must correct that injustice. And I will give you what I have, because you should have too. And that's just a natural impulse in a decent human being. That's the good yetzer. The ability to move beyond myself. Now, because of this dual character, this multiple personality that we have, there were schools of thought that believed very strongly that the evil impulse, the selfish impulse, must be broken. It must be defeated, uprooted. And how do you do that? With a good beating, a good spanking. You put a kid in his place and you let him know that he's not that important at all, and that if he doesn't behave himself, he's going to suffer. What message does that give the child? That he's not important? That he shouldn't be thinking about himself? Maybe the opposite? Maybe the more you discipline him and the more you beat him and the more you put him down, the more desperately self-conscious he becomes? Distinct possibility, no? So that approach, although it did work to some degree in the past, today it doesn't work at all. It just makes children hyper-aware of themselves and their needs and their moods and their pleasure and their pain. It becomes all about themselves to a narcissistic degree. So what then is the solution? The Chabad thinking, the Hasidic way of thinking, is that rather than fight the selfishness, the bad, rather than beat it, rather than criticize it, we need to get beyond it, above it. We need to liberate ourselves from it. And how do you do that? With reason. The evil inclination, or the bad inclination, says, if you want to do it, why not do it? You want to. That's reason enough. After all, you are, all you have is you. And if you, capital Y, want something, then you should have it. Why would you say no to yourself? Yourself is the most precious thing you have. Take care of yourself. Look out for number one. So what does it mean you can't have what you want? You must have what you want. So the old approach was, no, you don't. No, you don't have to have what you want. Who are you? That's creating a terrible tension, a battle of wills, not constructive at all. The Chabad approach is rethink your status quo. You are the most important thing in the world to yourself? Is that even true? Is that true? Self-importance is real? Valid? Correct? It's not. It really isn't. What is most important in my life? Me? That's ridiculous. You see, when I ask the question, what's important in my life, I'm asking it because obviously I am not the answer. I am who I am. I know who I am, and I'm asking you what is important in my life. Obviously, it's got to be something other than me, because me I already know. Or in different words, if I ask what is the purpose of life, what am I here for? Why was I born? What I'm asking is, can you help me justify me? My existence needs justification. That's what I'm asking for. Tell me why I am here. Because being here and being me doesn't justify anything. Just naturally. So the feeling, the impulse, if you want it, you must do it, that's simply not even true. Wanting something may be useful and productive, depending on what that something is, may be destructive. How would I know? How do I measure? What's the yardstick? Is what I want good or is it bad? To simply say, well, if you want it, then obviously, no. No. Look at a child. A child wants to play in traffic or play with matches. You say, well, if you want. No, that's ridiculous. The question is what you want right or wrong, good or bad? So the self does not determine what's right or wrong. We know that when we're thinking clearly. So what is the question, why am I here? Why am I here means what I am made of, all my components, my emotions, my needs, my feelings, all of it needs a reason to be here. It all must lead to something bigger than me. That's just common sense. Universal common sense. Everywhere and throughout all of history, people asked, why am I here? Why am I here and what is the purpose of my life is a humble question. Because it's basically saying, I can't just be here for me. I am me because I'm me, and that's what that doesn't add up to anything. So, if you want to know whether an impulse, a desire, a decision, whether it's good or bad, you can't go by the fact that I want. I want it very much. That doesn't tell you anything. So in the struggle between the impulse to do good and the impulse to do bad, which means the impulse to follow my instinct or the impulse to do what is right for the world or for the Creator or for my neighbors and family, something bigger than myself. If we stop and think, what I am desiring is simply not true. The urgency is not true. The need is not true. I don't really need this. So I cannot justify doing it based on the fact that I feel like I need it. Now I am smarter than my evil inclination. Not tougher, not harsher, smarter. And that puts me above the fray. I'm not fighting. I'm not struggling with my evil inclination because that's giving it too much attention already. I dismiss it on the grounds that it is not valid or true. What is true is that I am here for a purpose. And that purpose is infinite, global, cosmic, and eternal. Now we're talking serious. Now we're talking real. And I got to find out what that is to its last detail, because I got to get that right. And my evil inclination, my impulse to be selfish, that's not even real. That is not the real me. That is not why I'm here. That's not what I'm here for. That is dismissed as simply irrelevant. It's real, but it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with what life is really all about. It's a distraction and should be dismissed as such. That makes for a much happier life. We're not always caught in the tension between good and bad, between me and not me. We've graduated. We've moved on. We're not barbarians. Our impulses are not our decisions. Our impulses ask for a decision, and we make a rational moral decision. So the tension is gone, the anxiety is gone, the clarity replaces it. We know what God wants. We know that beyond myself lies the truth. Within myself, I'm going to choke on my own narcissism. So what's the choice? We do good. And when we do good, we know we're standing on solid ground. It's a relief. Constantly worrying about who am I? Am I good? Am I bad? I think I'm bad. I think I'm good. I think I'm the best. No, I think I'm the worst. You see, that's such a waste of time. You may be the best, you may be the worst. Is the whole world supposed to talk about you and determine whether you are the best or the worst? It's quite beyond the point. You're here because your Creator depends on you for some partnership. That He gave you a little piece of the world, a little corner of the world, and that's for you to elevate, improve, make godly. And if we all do our part, the whole world becomes godly, and the Creator is pleased with His creation. I mean, that's got to be. That simply has to be. God forbid, if He is not pleased with His creation, we're all in trouble. He's in trouble. And that's not good for us. So, let's get beyond the confusion. We know. We just have to think clearly. So, when tempted to do something bad, don't be intimidated, don't be frightened. It's perfectly natural, and it's totally irrelevant. Shalom Aleichem. How are you? You know, I do a lot of talking, a lot of Zooming, many classes, many subjects. But that's all formal stuff. Hopefully good stuff, but formal. We also have a Wednesday night meeting that's more informal and kind of Hamish. If you want to join us for that kind of an event, interactive, time for questions and so on, if you want to join us for this side of conversation, click on the link below and join us every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Well, maybe not every Wednesday night, but we try to make it every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, a more informal chat, which can be more enjoyable at times than the formal stuff. So check it out. Click on the link and join us. Try it. You'll like it.